Hey everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD. And today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 330 of My Hero Academia. Oh, this is the chapter I've been waiting for. It is the debut of Stars and Stripes Quirk. Ever since we met her 2 chapters ago, I've been waiting for this fight. And so this is where it finally occurs. If this is your first time on my channel, please do me a solid. Like, share, subscribe. If anything, subscribe and bang that bell. It would mean the world to me. Join my League of Otaku. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into this review. All right, chapter 330 of My Hero Academia, Me and Myself. Man, I am hyped, or should say, was hyped for this chapter going into it, and I cannot tell you how much it did not disappoint. It was a phenomenal chapter, and she has a phenomenal quirk. However, I do have some problems with the quirk, but I will discuss that a little bit later on in the review. First of all, I just want to start off by saying I love how fucking hard Stars and Stripes and the rest of the Americans go, bro. She's like, there's nothing to do but to smash. And you can tell she is ready to fuck Shigaraki up. And then on top of that, I really was not expecting any kind of lines or any feelings towards the jet pilot operators, but those dudes are cool as hell, bro. They're like ready. They're all about it. They're like, all right, let's go get this done. We're going to go F them up. And then she's like, even if you guys die, I'll make sure to take your bodies to your families, which is kind of grim, but something about that goes hard because it just shows their determination and their willpower and just their, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, there's the determination to succeed and their lack of fear in it and their obligation to their duty. And that's something I found to be super cool. And that's also something I found to be slightly different than All Might. Because I feel like if All Might was in the situation, there would be no talk about, I'll take your dead bodies back to your families. This has like a very, Sergeant Stripes is clearly, she appears to be more of like a soldier than like a hero, if you get what I'm saying. I'm sure she's a hero too, but like I'm getting really big soldier vibes just in the fact that like, they know that when they go out that their life isn't guaranteed. They know that it's a sacrifice for the what they're told anyway is the greater good, the well-being of society, their people. And so they're more than willing to lay their life on the line. And that's clearly the atmosphere I'm getting from that scene. And I love how they just execute their formations. They go in, and then we get to see Stars and Stripes quirk, and basically, her quirk is called New Order, and it is one of the most broken quirks we have ever seen in the series. And I kind of like, but also am really sad about how the mangaka chooses to what's the word I'm looking for here? Nerf it, because he makes it so that you can only have 2 orders going on. So basically, let me explain how the quirk works. Basically, once she says the name of something, she can impose a rule on it. For example, if I go, any light within a 5-foot radius of me has to turn off. Any light within a 5-foot radius of me will turn off. However, I can only have 2 rules going on. It kind of reminds me of like King's Cup, except you can't have multiple rules. You can only have 2 rules. And so one rule she constantly has going on, because at first I was reading the chapter, I was like, okay, if this is her rule, then explain to me her physique. How does that incorporate her physique? Is she just swole? Is it like Mirio? Is it like Mirio who just he's strong as hell, but that's purely from just working out himself? That's not really like a benefit of his quirk. That's purely him. But no, it appears she constantly keeps that rule engaged on herself. So she constantly has one rule going that gives her super strength, and then the other one is used freely to determine basically whatever she needs. And so the first time we see her use it, she removes, I believe, oxygen, she says. She removes oxygen from the atmosphere from anything within 50 meters in front of her. And so Shigaraki is over here suffering, suffocating, can't breathe, right? But he's able to get out of it. He uses his own quirk and sends over some is it lasers? He uses a multiple of quirks. I can't remember each one. Let me see if I can go back to the text real quick. Okay, so the first thing he uses against her is an EMP. And in order to create this EMP, he combines three quirks: radio waves, push, and load up, and sends the EMPs, to which some of the planes get hit by it. Some of the other planes are able to avoid it. And I think something really cool that happens is like, while like she's free falling, I'm like, oh my God, how is she going to figure this out? Once again, the American jet pilots are super swaggy. They just come in, they're just there to be footholds for her, and they're completely aware of it, and that in itself is super dope, right? And so she uses the atmosphere technique completely. Well, not air. She completely gets rid of the atmosphere, uses that technique, and while she uses that technique, the jet pilots fire a bunch of lasers, or is it lasers or just regular gunfire? Anyway, a bunch of gunfire from their cannons or their weaponry, right? And so something I really love is the pilots are arguing over like who hit him first, who took him out, and I thought that was hilarious because obviously, Shigaraki's still, hanging out, he's still hanging around. That's not going to defeat him, but this just seems very American for like, some very Top Gun, gung ho, John Wayne kind of like, I hit him first. Yeah, we did it. Like America. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. Shigaraki's able to survive this. He brushes it off and sends over a laser to them using reflection and refraction, right? However, she cancels out the original atmosphere rule, creates a new rule, which is she can hold lasers and is able to contain the lasers. So yeah, really loving her quirk, really loving her display of the quirk. So we get a little bit of a flashback, and this is something I was greatly waiting towards to figure out like how exactly she met him, why he's her master, and I'm wondering if there's more to it because all we've gotten so far is the fact that when she was a kid, she was involved in a huge car accident. And she had already resolved herself and resigned herself to dying. However, all she could think of is, I just want someone to come and save my sister. And lo and behold, this foreign Japanese hero arrives and saves her. And from that moment on, she always felt indebted to him. She always felt like she had to live up to him. It's a similar story to the heroes in Japan that have been saved by All Might. During this whole series, we know of many heroes that were inspired to become pro heroes because of All Might, and it makes perfect sense that this happened overseas as well. Inspiration is inspiration. Like idols will be idols anywhere. And so something I love that she said, and I kind of love how like that's why like Deku's costume is the same way it is she was inspired by his two hair spikes, and that's why she has, I believe she said either 6 or 8, I believe 8. And so that's why she styled her hair like that. So I thought that was really cute. I thought that was really awesome as well. And so during this fight, Sergeant Stripes is able to not only land a hit on Shigaraki, but she says his name. And to that, she makes a new order, and that is, if he moves even an inch from where he is, his heart will stop. So basically, she found a way to subdue him without killing him, or at least on her end. He can kill himself. That's his option. It's basically she put the choice in his hands. But from this moment on, he cannot move. And this is where something interesting happens. So earlier in this chapter, Shigaraki is speaking, and he's like, I feel like myself. I know I'm Tomura Shigaraki, but I also know that I am me. And he says like, and I was really confused because if you guys remember last review, I was confused. I was like, does it mean Shigaraki's ready now and then All For One will be able to take over his body later? And this chapter basically answered that question for me. No, All For One has taken his body right now. However, they haven't 100% synergized, I guess is the term to use. Um, so while All For One is in his body, there is still probably a little bit of Shigaraki there, or actually, to be more specific, what the chapter specifically states is that it's no longer a matter of it being All For One, and it's no matter a matter of it being Shigaraki. They're creating a new entity, a new being is being born, one that has the personalities of both, that isn't more so one or the other. And that's literally the thing that causes this new command, this new order not to work, because this being presented before her isn't exactly Shigaraki. And so he's able to circumvent that order. Which brings me back to what I said earlier in this review about something I did not like about this quirk. This is a problem I have constantly in certain animes where someone's power is a concept. I like, unless it's specific to the series, when a power is relatively simple. Unless the series makes a point that stuff like this happens, this is actually one of the first times, in my opinion, we've had a kind of, I want to say, like an omniscient quirk where it deals with concepts. For example, the fact that she says the atmosphere will cease to exist 50 meters in front of me. First of all, atmosphere is more or less a concept that we understand and that we have named. So anything can have a name to it. So in my head, it should be less about the fact that she said atmosphere and more along the fact that what her comprehension and understanding of an atmosphere will cease to exist, right? And so that's why, in my opinion, when she says this to Shigaraki, it should be less about the fact that he's no longer Shigaraki, he's not Shigaraki. It should be that this being in front of her that she knows and understands to be Shigaraki, or just simply this being in front of her, should not be able to move. However, because of the wording, because of the verbiage, because of the fact, because of the nuance, of the fact that this being is not exactly Tomura Shigaraki, the order stops working. And that bothers me a lot because, like I said, when you have concept powers or you have something vague like that, who determines these things, right? There has to be some kind of like almost deity figure that accepts or warrants stuff. Or like, for example, if I say I want this river to stop flowing, but maybe it's a stream, will it stop flowing because of my misunderstanding in the concept? I know that sounds a little complicated, but let me know in the comments so you guys understand what I'm getting at, right? So like it kind of has like a Death Note vibe to it where like if you get the name wrong, it doesn't work. Or like, okay, more specifically, the one thing I really liked about Death Note is if you didn't know someone's full name, oh, actually, no, it was if there were people that exist with the same name, whoever you're picturing is the one that dies. Otherwise, everyone with that same name would die. And so my thing is just, I totally get that the whole point of this chapter is not only to showcase Stars and Stripes' abilities and powers and why All For One would want them, which, by the way, dear God, I hope he does not get these powers. If he gets these powers, it's a wrap. I just do not understand. I don't understand how anyone would be able to stop him. But the main point is to showcase that, hey, there is no All For One anymore. There is no Shigaraki anymore. Some new, way worse, tremendous being is being created before our eyes that will make both parties pale in comparison to the sum of their individual parts. And I totally get that, but for such a really unique and weird quirk to be showcased for the first time, and please let me know in the comments if this isn't the first time we've had like a really like obscure, unique, omniscient quirk appear like this. But for it to show up, for it to have these rules, and Shigaraki to circumvent these rules because of an identity crisis is a little weird to me. Is a little weird to me. That's all I have to say on that regard. But as a whole, I like it. I totally get it. Like, turn my mind off, not think about it. Oh, that's a really cool way to circumvent it. Oh, it doesn't work because he's not really Shigaraki. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that's super cool. But when you think about the quirk as a whole and how, like, concepts like I can hold lasers, I can do this, like, also, it's just like, what are the limits of this quirk as well? Why can't she say, I am a god? Why can't she say something? For example, she has super strength, but she said it's not to the level of All Might. Why not? Why couldn't she have gone, I, Stars and Stripes? Sorry. I, Stars and Stripes, or whatever her real name is, will have power equivalent or surpassing that of All Might. So there's a little bit of pickiness here on my end. Am I right to be picky here? I don't know, but like for a really strong quirk, I don't know. It kind of seems like the mangaka is intentionally self-nerfing it because he realizes how powerful it is. And yeah, like I said, I just have some slight issues with how it works and what the limits are to it. Like she can remove whole atmospheres and catch lasers, so I don't understand why certain obscure rules are involved. Minus, she can only do it twice. I'm totally cool with the it can only work twice thing. That I'm fine with. But the nuance and semantics of like how it works and how it operates and working on this or that person, it bothers me a little bit. Anyway, that's pretty much where we're left off in the chapter. He's having an identity crisis. He's going crazy. We're told that his synchronization level currently is around 97, and so that means that once he reaches 100, that new being we are foreshadowed, that they are foreshadowed to create will be in effect. And once that happens, I clearly see the fight going in I don't even know what to call them, All For One Shigaraki's favor. And when that happens, Lord protect us all. Like I said, I really hope Stars and Stripes dies before she gives her power. Maybe like one of the jet fighters, maybe she tells them to like kill her. Maybe she has to make a decision to remove her super strength quirk in order to enable a different rule. That way she can have two rules going at once. I just really hope that it's not a situation where she's purely introduced as a Deus Ex Machina or Chekhov's gun or whatever the opposite of a Chekhov's gun is, or Deus Ex, no, Deus Diablo Machina, basically to help the villain, not the main character, to help the villain. And basically her only introduction is to give All For One this OP quirk, because that would low-key piss me off. But yeah, they're having a mental crisis, breaking down, they're turning into a new creature, and then we see a house. So I'm kind of predicting that next chapter we're going to get some kind of flashback that talks more about Shigaraki's past and the hatred he has. Maybe we get a little bit of All For One's past and why he harbors such hatred and why he wants to abuse the mess out of his power. Anyway, we're told that the conclusion of the fight is coming to its end, so I'm super excited. I got what I wanted out of this fight. She is a really cool hero. I am really disappointed that it seems that she's only going to be relevant for just a small, minute amount of time. She was a really cool character. At the end of the day, I guess it's because she's an All Might clone and she's a female, so that makes her cool. But like, other than that, like, I thoroughly enjoyed this chapter. Minus what I said about the quirks. I don't like I said, I'm not upset about the quirk. I don't hate the quirk. I just have, some qualms with it, if you will. So anyway, thank you. I'll leave the review here for now. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Otaku Talk. I'm your host, OD. I hope you all have a great weekend. And please do me a solid. Join my League of Otaku. Like, share, and subscribe. And please, let me know your thoughts on this chapter. Let me know if you thought Stars and Stripe lived up to the hype she brought on during her debut chapter. Let me know how you feel about the fusion of Shigaraki and All For One. Let me know what you think is going to happen once they hit 100% synchronicity. Do you think that All For One will actually manage to obtain Stars and Stripes ability? And if he does gain this ability, will he be able to be defeated? Because honestly, I just do not understand how something as like I'm saying, I think I was saying omniscient, but I feel like the word I'm looking for is omnipotent. But something that's just able to like rewrite the raw laws of like physics, like just completely able to rewrite the laws of just like how life of physics and how life works is SSS tier. Like almost like I just don't understand how she's not as strong as All Might if she wanted to be and stuff like that, and how that will be in his hands, how Deku will be able to defeat that, if there's going to be a way that he'll be able to maybe pull out powers from All For One. There's so much to think about. Do you think we're gonna get a flashback chapter next chapter? Uh yeah. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Have a great time. Take care.